Hi everybody, this is Miss Sermon, and I am here to give you a little synopsis or a book talk of a book that I just absolutely love and I think is a great book that everyone should read. This book is titled Brown Girl Dreaming, and it is by Jacqueline Woodson. Great story. It's all poems. It's a memoir of Jacqueline Woodson's actual life. So she decided to combine everything from her childhood pretty much, and she wanted to share it with her readers. I want to share a quick quote just with you real quick about her childhood from this story that really grabbed me when I started reading it, because it made me think a little bit before I started reading about how her childhood was when she grew up. I didn't grow up in the same time period as her, so it really opened my eyes to realize what all she went through as a child. It says, I was born on a Tuesday at University Hospital, Columbus, Ohio, USA, a country that was caught between African Americans and people that were white. And I didn't grow up during that time, so I'm really thinking here, her childhood must have been very interesting because she grew up in that time period where they did not agree and they were arguing and things were not fair. There was a time of segregation and her childhood was heavily impacted by that. So that hooked me right away. It's really on page 1. And I know now why she did that is because she goes through and explains all of the ways she grew up through that time period. And it was a struggle. It was a good childhood still, but it was a struggle. So this is about Jacqueline Woodson's life, and she does a great job of explaining how she grew up. She grew up going between 2 different towns. In one town, she lived with her mom, of course, and her grandparents. Sometimes her mom was not there, so it was her grandparents, and I really liked the way she talked about her grandparents. Her grandma was very involved in a certain religion. She was involved in the Jehovah's Witness religion, so that told a lot about her culture when she lived at her grandparents'. Her dad was not around, so she called her grandpa daddy, and you can really tell the relationship they have. Her daddy was always supportive of her grandpa, and you can tell that really impacted her life. I also could relate because I was really close to my grandpa as well, so I was able to relate to Jacqueline when she discussed him. She does a great job of writing and explaining to you all the events in her life. Like I said, you get great pictures in your head. You're able to visualize the setting and visualize what is she might be struggling with emotionally, because she tells you all of her thoughts. She leaves a great impression to other writers. The way she told the story is all through poetry. So it really encouraged me to explore the thought of writing more poems as well as a person. I also like how she made you feel like you were on that journey with her. Even though she wrote this after she was older, I felt like I was there. I wasn't there, but the way she wrote made me involved in the story and invested, and I wanted to see how she was feeling and how everything was going to turn out. I also learned a lot about culture and religion from back in the day. Religion is obviously a part of culture, but I was able to learn more about how those things impacted her life and in that time period as well. So I want you to think, have you ever read a memoir or a story in first person about someone's life through poems? It's a different story. It's a great read. It is somewhat simple to read because it is poetry, and she writes it so well you feel like you're there with her. So it's a very enjoyable book, a very pleasant book to read. So if you have time, go ahead and check this book out, and I know without a doubt you are going to like it.